Sound check, 1, 2. Sound check, 1, 2. There, better. Now I can see my mic. Sorry about that. So let's start over, shall we? Much better. So I'm going to go back to the screen. Good morning, Rancheroos. And one of these days I will figure out my audio ahead of time. Actually, what happened was I just turned the wrong mic channel on and didn't check to see if I had sound. So let's get started. If you'd like to join us today, you can join us by going to slack.rancher.io and typing your email address. And then from there, you can join us on Rancher Users. Thank you, Chris, and good morning for letting me know that I didn't turn my mic on. So yes, if you'd like to join us, chat here, questions, gripes, complaints, all of the above. So let's talk about where we've been and where we're going. A couple weeks ago, we started this automate all the things GitHub repo. And the idea behind this repo is that it's going to be a reference architecture for the community. It's mutually owned and mutually shared, starting with Azure, just because that's what the community chose, and then moving on to other infrastructure types. And really, this is a way of getting started in an enterprise-focused way. So by the end of this this series, which is going to go for probably months because it's going to take me a while to get through everything, we'll all together share a reference architecture that we can start with. So whether it be Azure or Amazon or Linode, DigitalOcean, you'll have a starting point for essentially just going from zero to production ready. And that's the idea. We want enterprise, production ready, scalable, with some of the bells and whistles that you would expect in a production setup. Like for example, let's see, let's go to so if you go ahead and grab this code and go to the to-do, we're going to try to hit all of these things. So I originally blogged about this idea here, and then we have a live list of things that we've kind of talked about as a community and where we're going. So things like least privilege and SDN. Like for example, I was out in the forums yesterday. Let's actually see if there was a response. So if you're not out here, go get yourself a forums account. Join us out here. Please answer questions because there's one of me. And specifically, somebody asked about, here it is, which permissions are absolutely required for Azure. And I think it was a good question because they were asking specifically, do we really need read all full profiles? And my answer was, I think so, but let me confirm with engineering. So I asked engineering, and engineering said, hey, we're not sure. Maybe we could just go with basic profiles. We should test that because of least privilege. So we're paying attention too, because this is what comes right out of our documentation. And they asked, hey, this is kind of giving our AD team pause, and read all groups as could be necessary. If you're going to hook your auth system into your AD system, you're going to need to get all the groups so you can attach roles to groups. But that may mean you don't need full profile. I don't know. So I put a GitHub ticket together. And if you ever have an issue with Rancher, actually in the bottom of Rancher, there's a file and issued link that will go right to GitHub issues and start to fill in the template for your issues. So actually put an issue here for the engineering team that, hey, we should look into this. And actually I alerted engineering, and they are going to look into that because we're asking for a lot of privileges when you ask for a full profile. So if we can get away with less, hey, let's get away with less. I'm not fully caffeinated yet. I've only had one cup of coffee this morning. Good morning, Roland. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to automate all the things. If you can go ahead and clone this repo, I'm going to re-clone it just so I am where you all am, because I do try to do a little bit of work on this during the week, and we're going to turn this into a more formal project. So one of the things that I did last week was I actually started did I start it? Let's see if we did. I would have started a cattle drive. So I started this cattle drive repo. We're actually going to switch, first thing first, we're going to switch over to this cattle drive repo. So I'm going to grab this here, and we're going to add this as a remote onto our current repo. So I'm going to open up a terminal and make it large enough for everyone to read. We spent a lot of time in the terminal. And go over to the automate all the things. I have everything. Do I have anything extra in Git? Computer setup scripts. Oh, yeah. One of the things that we were talking about adding was this idea of being able to set up things, set up your machine via virtual machine, and maybe we'll get there, but not today. So let's add a remote, and we'll call this one cattle drive. Good. So I'm going to do a git remote to see everything. Good. And now we will git fetch cattle drive. We'll grab everything from cattle drive just so that we're even. And now we'll check that out. Git checkout. Or no, git checkout. Helps when I can type. And I'm here. I'm going to attach to head. What did I do wrong? I should not be in attached to head state. Oh, well, oh. You know what? We'll do it the other way around then. We will actually git clone cattle drive. Oh, I already grabbed it. Good, we're here. Git status. We are up to date. And let's use the automate all the things as remote. So grabbing that, going back to automate all the things. We'll pull everything from automate all the things into here. Git remote, add, git fetch, automate, git merge, automate, master. Huh, didn't know you could, that's probably actually a good thing. I'll figure that out later. I know that's a good, easy way to do that. It's just been a while since I actually studied the git foo behind that. I'll move it to cattle drive later. Let's go back to automate all the things, shall we? That's what I get for not actually practicing more often with that stuff. It doesn't stay in my head all the time. So for those of you who are new to the RanchCast, I was a developer for 15 years-ish. It's probably somewhere between like 12 and 18 because it's basically to account my college time. I was doing professional stuff or not, that sort of thing. But it's one of those things where I get a little rusty because I moved from software engineering into architecture, and from architecture into sales engineering, from sales engineering into developer evangelism, and this is new for me. So what I've realized now is that I'm not coding every day, and I haven't coded every day for about a year. It gets rusty. There's a thing about katas and practice, and it's a little rusty with my Git. So the joy of live. But today we're talking specifically about Terraform modules, and there's a reason for this. So first things first, if you haven't already, you should be able to use the, where is it? You should be able to, well, one more to delete all the state files and stuff, but automate all things, Terraform module, you should be able to use the Terraform module to set everything up. So we have this TFRs file here with the various counts of nodes that we're going to use. And good suggestion, P. Michael. P. Michael said I should put my stream under Science and Tech to probably get a few more viewers. I'm still learning the ins and outs of how, like, getting viewers to Twitch and getting viewers to all these things. And I do restream. So for those of you that are, I'm on Twitch and Mixer and YouTube because corporate firewalls block different things, and I want as much access as possible. But P. Michael, good suggestion. So let's actually go through and let me make sure I'm not exposing anything in my variables over there. So I'm going to pull this off screen just for a moment to see what is exposed and what is not. Oh, it's not there. That's okay. So setting up, you'll want to run Terraform. And I don't think I have my, so we'll run this. Where are my files? My automate file is gone. That's not good. I'm missing files. Why am I missing files? Oh, I'm at a detached state. Yeah, not so smart. All right, maybe we have our files back. I see main now. Yay, we have Terraform again. I'm not the brightest, obviously. But you should be able to use this automate all the things script. You'll have to log into AZ first. You'll do a Terraform init to get all the providers that you need. And then what you can set whatever you want for these. I use automate all the things and my own service principal. So um, I set up this script. It will set up your service principal. It will log in with its service principal, and it will start the Terraform process using environment variables in your path. So we need those environment variables in our path. So I'm just going to copy and paste this so that we don't just have to run the script to show it off a little bit live. Do we have okay? I think I have. We messed around with this a lot recently, so I'm not 100% sure what state it's in, but I do think it's working. But there's only one way to find out. Now, isn't there? So first things first, let's log in. You'll of course need a Azure account to do this. Azure gives away lots and lots of free credits to get you hooked, so you should be able to find some somewhere. And Azure, as soon as we log in, you'll get your ID. This is also your subscription ID. So the names change quite a bit. You'll see subscription ID and tenant ID quite a bit. You'll need those. So the easiest way to get that if you're not in a login scenario is AZ account show. I actually love the AZ CLI. And Microsoft did a great job with this. It's up there with any of the CLI to talk to the cloud. It is very well built. There are just idiosyncrasies between different libraries. Like client ID is sometimes app ID because it's the difference between Azure Active Directory nomenclature and Kubernetes cloud provider nomenclature. Good. So I think let's just do these one at a time. I'm actually going to show this off screen a little bit because I don't want to expose the service principal that's created. And yes, that should get us all the way there. I'm hard coding public. If you're at a different cloud, go ahead and change that around. And I'm just going to move this all screen because it will create a service principal. And that service principal will have a password. Oh, I already have an existing application scope. Oh, that's going to break. I broke it. And the reason I broke it is I already had the service principal. So I couldn't grab the password because you can't just grab the password, which is a good thing. But let's actually go ahead and clear this thing out. So AZ ADSP remove. I think it's .id and it's with the HTTP. For me, it's the RanchCast. For you, it may be something else that may not be removed. Let's try delete. Okay. Yeah. Oh. -- ID. Silly me. Alright, so we've removed our service principal. That should actually be okay now. Again, off the screen, just because I don't want to expose the password to you all. That would be bad. I trust all of you because I know all of you dearly, especially those of you who are joining us for the first time. Thank you. Hey, and I'm still getting errors. Why am I getting errors? Let's see, I'm still getting errors. Application was not found. This can happen, has not been. Ooh, these are ugly, ugly errors. You know what? Let's just delete it. There, delete the RanchCast. Double dash. And did I miss something here? So, a couple things that are changing. One, we're going to start the cattle drive project. I'll actually make that like an actual project with a Kanban board and cards, and y'all can join, work on stuff in your free time if you feel like it. This is like not an obligation thing. It's just a community thing. And as well as that, I'm going to shorten these down to as close to 30 minutes as possible and do some post-production as soon as I learn how to do post-production. So, for those of you who don't know Adrian works also in our marketing team, is another former developer architect type like myself, and has been doing these really awesome Rancher videos on his YouTube channel. So go check those out. But I went to Adrian and said, Adrian, your videos are awesome. How do you do your editing? So he pointed me to the open source software he's using, and it is really awesome. So yeah, go check out his videos. He absolutely is doing wonderful things, and I'm going to emulate him without copying him. because, like I said, really awesome stuff. But back to the problem at hand. Not let the ADHD take over too much. And so what happened here? Might be a timing issue. Oh, and you're welcome, P. Michael. Yes, Visual Studio Code is awesome. So over on the RanchCast, P. Michael is talking about Visual Studio Code. If you haven't checked it out yet, and you can check this out in past episodes, check out Visual Studio Code. It has great plugins for Kubernetes, for Helm, for all the things that we do. It is my go-to text editor, and I am a VI guy. Like, I've been using VI forever. I love VI. I have the shortcut keys memorized, well, a lot of them. But Code has replaced VI because it does good text editing, uses up a little bit of memory, and has all the features I need, including completion and snippets for Kubernetes YAML, which is a must. More caffeine. I'm not hyper enough yet. So let's solve our Azure AD problem. I have no idea what I've done wrong here because we've ran through this like 30,000 times. We are deleted. Yep, good. It doesn't exist. 400 unauthorized. Oh. I bet I was logged in. No? Logged in as a user. Just to make double check that I am actually logged in properly. I am. Good. Let's try this one more time, shall we? This should just work. I know we've rolled through this a bunch of times. Nope, that's good, that's good. That's good. AC service principal. You know what? I should put a sleep in here. I don't remember the badge for sleep. So the other problem with being a developer and also being a developer in a .NET space forever is I get all my commands messed up. And I think it's just sleep. Yeah, Unix operating system command. That's what I wanted, was sleep. Okay. But I always double check because I only want to do this one more time. And yes, it is sleep. So we're going to sleep for, let's sleep for 10 seconds after the service principal gets created. Just to make sure that all the things are getting done. And then I'll also check my service principal. Oh, tenant, service principal. Should we be getting the tenant there? Tenant ID. We'll find out in a minute. Okay. It's also, oh, you know what? I also created my AZCLI this week. So this is the other thing. Is apparently sometimes AZCLI changes. That's also a possibility. So let's go ahead and we're going to copy the X. I already have copied, so let's go ahead and paste it again. Cross our fingers. All right. Hey, look at that. No errors. I guess maybe it was just a, hey, the sleep was a good thing. All right. I'll take it. So, should just work out of the sleep. We'll make sure to check that in later. And then we'll do a Terraform apply. I'm not going to auto approve because I actually want to see what I'm creating. Oh, what did I do? Unknown token. Resource group location. So, oh, I know what's wrong. Yeah, that's what I thought. So, versioning. I've talked about versioning a couple times. Terraform went from 0.11 to 0.12, and 0.12 is awesome as I've dove into it. The error messages are better. There's contents. So, coolest thing. I'm a big believer in documentation as code. I'm also a big believer that error messages are documentation as product. So are your error messages. So let's remember as developers, hey, our error messages are written for human beings. We're probably using it getting started to try out our project. And this is a terrible error message. I have no idea what that means. Well, I do sort of. I know what that means. It helps that I've looked at a lot of Terraform. But 12 has much, much better error messages, and it's really just a matter of me switching over my link. So let's remove sudo rm switch. I think that will work. Let's try it. And that should get rid of my link to Terraform. And I'm gonna, I almost guarantee I'm going to do this backwards. So 12 is much different than 11. I keep them both around. Oh, yep, I did it backwards. Why don't y'all tell me? Chris, Chris is paying attention. I was about to, but you hit enter. And the fact that we're on like a 3 to 5 second delay, depending on where I am, y'all can't help me that. Y'all can't help me fast enough. So yeah, I'm also, like I said, I do Bash, and I also do PowerShell. I will mix them up. I have aliases in PowerShell for Bash. I don't have aliases in Bash for PowerShell. That would be evil. I'm also one of those crazy people who has PowerShell installed on Linux because I do a lot of PowerShell. But I'm a big fan. But we're not doing these in PowerShell, certainly not today. All right, so now we have the right Terraform. If you haven't yet, do a Terraform init. And let's talk about what Terraform init is doing. Terraform init is grabbing your provider plugins. So providers in Terraform are what plug into your various libraries, your clouds, and things of that nature. We're using 2. We're going to be using the Azure Terraform plugin, actually 3. We're using the Terraform plugin for Rancher 2, and we'll be using the Azure AD Terraform plugin later on down the line as we get that far. I gotta get this in the chat. So one of these days, what I will do is I'll have this, except over to my right, where this black curtain thing is, so you can't see all my crap back there. Because my wife said, hey, let's not show the entire world all the stuff you have on your bookshelf because you're a slob. She didn't say it that way, I'm paraphrasing. She's much kinder. She's one of those empathetic people because she has a background in counseling. She's awesome. I'll brag on her a little bit today. But we'll do a Terraform plan now. And Terraform plan will tell us all the things that this Terraform will change. Now it's refreshing my in-memory state by looking through by looking through my state file. We'll do remote state later as well. Did I add that to the to-do list? You'll notice that I flop back and forth quite a bit. Focus is always a challenge for me. Just a little bit of ADHD, if you can tolerate it. All right. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. There. So we'll also do that. And you'll see we're going to get 11 new resources of different types. We'll get some control plane NICs. That's what we did. We got NICs last time, so we're just dealing in NICs right now. And that's okay. Actually, that's where we'll focus our Terraform module today, on reusable NICs, because there's no reason that we need, we need to copy and paste things over and over and over again. Because these NICs are going to be the same. They're going to be, they can be in the same space. We can modify our modules as we go. We're going to do the simplest possible things. So we're going to do Terraform run, just so we actually have our thing out now. Terraform run, Terraform apply, so that we have all our code out there. And we will say yes, perform our actions, and it will go and create all the things that we have out in Azure. And we can actually check it creating all the things out in Azure. If we go out to the Azure portal, portal.azure.com. And if you have any questions around Azure, like Azure was my first cloud. I know a lot of people was EC2 because they were first to the party. I was playing with Azure stuff back when it was an unusable mess. And it's no longer an unusable mess. It's actually quite usable and quite a lot of fun. But for a while, it was a mess. That's not the one I wanted. Nope, different resource group. What I call this? I call it automate all the things. Now, okay, I know where that will be, because that will get me to the resource group that I want, and we can see all the NICs and all the NICs and VMs get created. That's right, because we had NICs and we had VMs. We had the 11 things get created here, ready to go. Still creating. So we'll give that a minute to create. I think it was like a minute and a half last time. 2 minutes. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about where we're going. Switch over to my picture of me for a second while I was doing things. So where we're going. Cattle Drive project, Kanban board. We'll treat this like an actual project because I know some of you all have spare cycles. I Occasionally we'll have a spare cycle here and there when I'm not on Slack or forums, helping y'all out or learning the new things like Terraform or how to set up SDN by hand or doing CDN. Because things that are things that are required to go to the enterprise. Or occasionally helping out production issues with the community. So let's talk about a few community resources while we're creating. If you're already on the Slack workspace, let's go back to my screen. If you're already on the Slack workspace, there are lots and lots and lots of channels. So general, everyone's a general. If you happen upon a Rancher Rodeo, I create a Rancher Rodeo channel for everywhere we go. That way you have your various friends out there. I have some private channels. You don't have to worry about them. The RanchCast today. But more importantly, we have specific channels for projects like K3D, K3OS. When we do road shows, we name them and have channels for all those kinds of questions. And then every week we do online training, online masterclass, and once a month an online meetup, just like the actual meetup, except we do order pizza. So do check those out. 2 minutes. Oh, it's taking forever. Actually, I think it was like 3 last time. So not half bad, but things are creating. But let's talk about Terraform modules while we go. So when you do a Terraform init, you're actually creating a Terraform module. So this directory structure we have here is a proper Terraform module. It is what's called the root module. But today we're going to talk about child modules. So child modules are basically repeatable code in Terraform. So we're actually going to use our, we're going to create let's do an etcd module. So we're going to create an etcd module. So first things first, we're going to need a directory for it. So we'll start Terraform, and we'll call this the etcd module. Now we're not going to do the whole module today. We're just going to get it started. Actually, I am going to code this week. I'm telling you all now. You can hold me accountable and make fun of me next week when I haven't done it. But I'm going to code the rest of the module this week. But I want to get started to show you how to create and consume child modules. Now, there are different module sources. Modules can be at GitHub. They can be local. They can be S3. If you want the whole rundown, read the documentation. I'll show you where it is. So, Terraform modules. We have the configuration, we have the module configuration language and the creating modules. These are your 2 sources of truth for Terraform 112. A lot of the docs out there right now are still on, or not 112, 012. A lot of docs out there are still 011. So, right now your gut check is checking out the Terraform site proper. We're going to call a child module. We're just going to build one of these. And we'll do an output. So like I said, we're doing it really simple today. We're just going to start the etcd module. I'll finish it offline, share it out with the world. Again, check out the RanchCast channel on the Slack workspace. Check out my Twitter if you're not following me on Twitter. I am Jason Van Brackle. I'm either JVB or Jason Van Brackle. I'm JVB in places where I can grab JVB because there were millions of Jasons born between 1979 and 1983, and I'm just one of many. This will, so when I go live, this will change over. I'll tell y'all when I'm about to go live. But we all, Rancher and myself, will post it. We'll post it a day out, a couple hours out if I'm awake. Those sorts of things. But if you follow me on Twitter, most of what I tweet is stuff in the Kubernetes DevOps community, not all Rancher related. Marketing will say, hey, could you retweet this? And I'll go read what it is, and if I like it, I'll retweet it. And occasionally things about the Baltimore Orioles and Baltimore Ravens. I'm originally from Baltimore, out of the Philadelphia area now. But yeah, so any updates, I'll make sure that once we have the full etcd module, it'll be here. So let's go ahead and create an etcd module. Alright, our etcd module, and just so there are essentially 3 things to a module: input variables, output variables, and resources. So just like this main module here, I've got my input variables. I don't actually have any output variables. I could have output variables, and then resources like these. So let's actually turn. Let's turn the. I was going to do etcd. I'll do the etcd in my free time. We'll just turn the network into a module because the resource group and network is kind of a static thing. So let's just grab this thing here. And let's talk a little about provider inheritance in Terraform modules. Any provider using the root module will automatically flow to the child modules unless you override it. So you can override it. If you go into the creating modules documentation, it'll talk about overriding. It also talks about the things I just talked about. You can learn everything from the docs. You don't have to watch me. The docs are, probably just as boring as I am. All right, so let's create a module and we'll put it for the network. Then we'll use this network module to also create our front-end load balancer later. And we'll need 3 files. We'll need our input variables. So we'll just collect variables. That will have our input variables and our output variables. And then we'll have our resources. And we'll just call that main.tf because that's the proper, that's the generally accepted way of doing that. And we're going to actually have to have an output because we're going to want that resource group out, and we're going to want some information about the network. So let's actually, so we got a subnet, we got a network. Do we want to actually have some input variables for this? Yes, we do. So let's actually grab the ones from our not our TFRs, or from our variables file here, and we'll grab the ones that we need for the resource group, because we'll need resource group name and region. So let's grab both of those. And those actually belong to Azure variables that we have right now. Let's go to our network module and add the variables. And since we're actually scoping this to the child module, we're just call it resource group and region, since we understand the scope we're in here. And region. All right. And then, so with the resource name, and we have the name of it. These won't change, but our variable names did change. And I don't think anything else in here changes. Let's take a look. Resource group, location, name, subnet, network. Hey, Adrian, thanks for joining us. I just saw you there. And our subnet, so variables, we have our 2 variables. So we'll need some output variables, won't we? So let's actually go ahead and look at the docs for this, so you know where it is, so that I don't have to remember the syntax off the top of my head. And that's how we declare an output variable. And it really just has a name and a value. So we have that. So we have our input variables, and let's get our output. And we want this network module with the resource group output. I love Visual Studio Code. So the 2 extensions you'll want, at least for what we're doing right now, is the Azure Terraform, which is what I just used to do that, and the Kubernetes stuff. There's lots of good Kubernetes stuff out there. Oops, did I just do that? I did that. All right. So we want our region, and really, now there's 2 ways we could grab it. We can actually grab it from the output of the module, or we could grab it from the variable itself. So I'm actually going to grab it from the variable itself today. I wonder if I can do it this way. I don't know if I can. So 011 was really heavy in string interpolation. 12 allows you to talk to some things directly. So I'm going to just do some experiments here and there to see what can be talked to directly and what can't. Because I'm still kind of learning the ropes here. But we'll go for var, resource group. And also the extension is still connected to 11 in a lot of ways. So there are things where I'll get hints that I'm doing it wrong. I may not be doing it wrong. So we're going to actually check. We'll do a var value. We'll do a var region. Or no, actually, I do want the output of the resource group. So we're going to grab this resource group. That has a dash in it. And I think it's called name. Actually, let's double check. Again, we have docs for a reason. We'll duplicate this. We'll go to our providers, look at our Azure provider, and we'll look specifically to, this is I don't even know if this is a compute resource. Maybe not. Let's see. It might be a base resource. Let's find out. Oh, yep, good, base resource. So I wonder what the outputs are. So I can see here it just has an ID, name, location, and tags. So I can send in either one of those, and I can talk to them, and it will expose an ID. All right. So resource group, we're going to return that, and we're going to return the region for the resource group as well. RM, resource group, dash group. I think it will let me talk to the region. Location, I think it might be location. And let's just do a Terraform. So the nice thing about this is that Terraform will actually do a Terraform. We do a Terraform init again, scan through that and let me know what I did wrong. Invoking the backend, and then what's to call this to make sure it's working. So far so good. Looks like this is okay. Yeah. See, that is a Terraform 11 style error. That's not a Terraform 12 style error. So I think this will work. We'll know in a minute. So we've created our module. Now let's ingest our module. So let's see, let's save that. Oh, I ran the init without saving anything. That doesn't really help. So if we go into, I'm getting a little confused. Let me just close everything. Yes, I do want to save that. Open this up. And I'm in my network module. I have all that. That all looks good. You see here, I didn't change this at all. And then we go into our main. We're actually going to use that module. So here's how you use module. Module. You give the module a friendly name and alias within the context of this root module. So we're going to call this network and the source for it. So again, module sources. You go out to modules, module versions, meta arguments. Where is the module sources? Modules can have, nope, not that one, not data sources. Next. There, module sources. Module sources could be any of these. Local paths, Terraform registries, GitHub. You get the idea. Even S3 bucket. We're using a local path today. Maybe next time we'll talk about more advanced Terraform modules again. Just trying to keep this to like 30 minutes. And I'm already at 40 because sound and futzing around with our automation. So source is going to be local, so it's going to be /network module. And then we got to pass it in its input variables, and I don't remember what I called them. I called them resource group, and I called them region. All right. And that really should be a first. This is one of those areas. It's why as you start to work on something, and you realize you still need to pass that in, because we're going to pass it at this level too. Grab our Azure variables here. I'm the right, and we just want the resource group. So we do want the Azure resource group. I'm going to call it Azure resource group here to just differentiate it from the other one. All right, so the resource group is our variable for Azure resource. And we see, actually, it looks like we do need string interpolation. Maybe we don't. I didn't test that yesterday last time. Maybe I did. Y'all would know. And then Azure resource group. And then I needed a region. And, oh, I really should just kept them both in there. Region, I'll keep the description as well. Resource group, but I will differentiate them as Azure. Plus, once the module's here, we could reuse it in other ways. And var Azure region. All right, let's test out to see how that went. And I needed Azure resource group. I do, actually. So let's actually create some variables for this. Didn't I do that in my script earlier? Let's find out. Let's go back to my automate script. I did. Resource. Oh, name. Let's try to keep this consistent with my old way of doing it so we're not changing too many things at once. Azure resource group name. Good. All right. Now we get to see all the things I did wrong. Now, remember what I said about context-sensitive error messages? This is one of my new favorite features about Terraform 12. Failed to request interactive input. No. Oh no, that was my fault. This one. So, in module network, good. Input with Azure Resource Group has not been declared. No. I probably put it in the wrong. All right. Let's take a look. Azure Resource Group, variables, resource group. Oh, there it is. Azure RM. I thought I did that right. Maybe I didn't. Azure Resource Group. Azure Resource Group. This one, I want this main. Azure Resource Group, resource.group. Yeah, that looks right to me, but it's clearly not because it's telling me it's not. Undeclared input variable. Azure, oh, resource group equals var in module network. Oh, there it is. Var resource group, variables, resource group. Azure resource group. This is what I get for only practicing once and not like 3 times before going live. Let's see. In line 17 of main. Line 17. What? That's not even the right file. Oh. There it is. That is line 17. Right? Let's clear that. I need to look at fresh. Alright. Let's see what else I've done wrong. Azure Resource Group name has not been declared. Didn't I declare that? Azure Resource Group name. Oh, do I have to do it this way? Let's just give that a go. Let's see if that is my problem. There it is. Okay, invalid character. Oh. So maybe this does require string interpolation. We'll find out in a second. Resource group. Resource group. Undeclared input variable. No, it really is an undeclared input variable. Did you mean, oh. Like I said, context sensitive error messages. Did I mean this? Azure. Yes. Yes, I did. I like that. That's actually really well done. Like it even looked at my variables and said, "Hey, this one looks kind of like that." Wow. Good deal. And I should have one less error now. Yep. Okay, good. Okay, resource group. Okay, good. We're in good shape here. Because now I need to, so now what I did was I removed the networking here and I'm going to put that into a module we're going to reuse. But there are things that were required, that were using that. So we need our outputs. So here's how we do our outputs. We call it by its name. So we have network. And then what was the output variable name? I think I called it, I don't remember. I called it region and resource group. region. I know it's resource group. And no, I need the location. I need the location out of that. So we're going to output the location. Oh, I did. Again, I'm not a smart person. We'll call it location just to keep the name specific there. And then we'll also need the resource group name. Go back into our Terraform modules. We'll need some extra things. Resource group ID. Let's just output the whole resource group. We can do that. Because we're going to need that in more than one place. And did I call it dash group? I did not. I called it, you know what, just for the set. I like my output variables dashed. Anything that I'm going to reference in there. And I believe that will now work. So anywhere we have this, and anywhere we have this, now I did a Control L there. That should actually change it for all my various VMs. So that should change it on my control plane. No, it did not. Oh, because I had string interpolation in one and object reference in the other. All right. So we've gone and ripped out all of the stuff that was not in our module, and we've added to our module. And let's go ahead and see just how many things I broke. All right, what did I do wrong? Undeclared resources. Okay, we're closer. All right, Azure Network Interface. Oh, the next. I got to change it to the next two. Where are my nicks? Oh, I'm looking right at them. Wait a minute. Undeclared. Line 86. Let me just look at line 86. Resource group. Subnet ID. Azure Subnet. Oh. We're going to do the subnet out too. This is where we learn all those things that we forgot. So yeah, I'll need some subnet information out as well. So I need a subnet ID. What else do I need from that subnet? Subnet ID. I think that's it. Yep. So let's go back into our network module, and we'll also output the subnet ID. Let's use a dash, so I could be consistent across, and the value is. So the way we declare variables, it is the provider's resource name. In this case, this would be a subnet, followed by the actual object name. So this would be like class object nomenclature for coders, and in this case, it's subnet, and then the actual underlying object name. In this case, ID, and then we'll grab that so I don't have to remember it for the next 5 seconds. Go back into our main module. Control Shift L to get all of them. I have 2 selections. Subnet. No, it's not that, it's this. Now, I think we've now replaced all the things where we need. We still have some hard-coded passwords there, but we'll get to that. And what do I have? All right, I must be calling it wrong. Let's see how I'm calling it wrong. Fortunately, we have the docs. So, going back to our modules documentation, and I want the configuration language, and I want specifically modules under here, so we know how to talk to them. And I want the output variable of the module. So, oh, that's what I forgot. I knew it was something like that. Okay, so this is one of those reasons I love VS Code. We're going to grab everywhere we're doing a network dot. We'll go back here and go module. Was it modules or module? Module. Alright, so, oh, I'm missing one subnet in Azure subnet, network subnet ID. What? Oh, I also got to get I got to get the other ones. No, that should all work. Where am I missing it? Module subnet ID. Oh, I know. Once you change a module, I think you have to re-init. There we go. Yeah, so I did it really fast. That was important. I changed the module code around, so I have to re-init. All right, we are that much closer. Network module, line 21. So close. Line 21. Oh, Azure Virtual Network. What? A managed resource Azure R subnet ID has not been declared in network. In network. Azure. Oh, I bet it's the output. Something about my output variable. Oh. I told you how to do it right, and then I did it wrong. Okay, did you mean? Thank you for catching my spelling error, Terraform. Like I said, I love HashiCorp. If you ever happen upon this, love what you did. I'm going to at them today on Twitter because resource group. Did you mean? Yes. Actually, yes, I did. Thank you. Going back into our main module and fixing our spelling mistakes. So. Did I mean? Wow. So I got to check all the things that I talked to a resource group and actually see if I spelled it properly. So let's go through each one. Line 21. Nope, other 21. That network module 21. Yeah, network module 21. Line 21. That one is fine. That is fine. That's good. Okay. Then this one, module network resource groups. That's line 44. Over here. Love. Yeah. Actually, let's make sure I didn't do it more than once. Nope, just one. All right. And then line 86. So I'd have weird like ID and errors before. So let's re-init to grab our provider changes and Terraform plan. And look at that. We've done it properly. Interesting. So we've not changed anything except move the network into its own module. And it's saying 3 to add, 5 to change, 3 to destroy. So it's going to do a destroy and add on what? Oh. So by changing the reference, even though we're not changing any of the actual things, it's going to actually swap nicks out and do all kinds of stuff. And that's fine. This may not work right. This may not be supported by Azure as far as this change goes. But let's find out. Terraform apply. Auto apply. What did I do? Is it dash auto approve? I did this 3 times last week too, didn't I? All of you were joining me last week and know exactly what I did. And where are my errors? In use subnet cannot be. Yeah, I didn't think so. So when it's something that's in use, it can't be. So in this case, we'd have to destroy and recreate, which in this case is not a project change because this thing is so early. Oh, if I destroy it, it's going to destroy the nodes, and it's going to take a few minutes just for us to know that the thing actually works, and that's fine. So that is part one of creating Terraform modules. We'll do a later part down the line of actually doing Terraform modules that are reused in GitHub and published and documented and all of that. But we now modularized the network. I'm going to modularize a few more things this week before we move on. So 3 things are going to happen this week off camera. Maybe I'll do them on camera just on my own personal Twitch, where I'll say, hey, this week I'm gonna live code for a while. We're gonna automate all the things over to Cattle Drive, and just it'd be like I'll hit up Twitter, say, hey, I'm gonna broadcast in 5 minutes. Nothing formal like this where I do it every week at a specific time. So we're gonna automate all the things over to Cattle Drive. I'm gonna put a formal, not project structure, but at least a Kanban board together that you all have access to. And we'll actually treat this like a proper reference architecture, for our community in large. So before we leave, let's go ahead and make sure that we have our code over and all of our changes are available. So we'll want to do, yes, we can do that. Git add. We do want to add the network module. And then make sure all of them are added. Good. Git commit. I don't remember what episode number this is. I'll change it later. So I'll just do it by date, by message by date. And the RanchCast. August 28th. If I can spell August. And push. So we're now up to date together. Thank you for joining me today. Next week, I don't know what we're going to talk about next. I'll put it on Twitter. Again, it'll be something from our to-do list. If we go back to our cat and we cat to-do, it'll be something from here. I don't know what yet. I'll pick one. I'll push this project along a little bit further, just so that we actually have some nodes to work in. I'll probably modularize our nodes and our network security groups, so our Azure firewalls, and then we'll walk through that for the first part next time. If you want to join me, we can pair this up. I'm really cool with pairing. That way it's not me talking all the time. But in the meantime, thank you all for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.